The summer heat was heavy in the Nevada desert, the kind that made you sleepy even if you weren't tired. The rust bucket rumbled down a dusty desert road, kicking up clouds of sand behind it, its air conditioning struggling against the brutal afternoon sun. Ben Tennyson sat by the window, chin in hand, tapping the Omnitrix like it was a game. Nothing. No signals, no blinking lights, just heat and silence. It had been 3 weeks since the last alien encounter, and boredom was setting in fast for the young hero. Gwen was reading again, of course, some thick book with words Ben didn't even want to try pronouncing. Her orange hair was pulled back in a ponytail, her eyes scanning the pages with that intense focus that always annoyed Ben. How could anyone read when it was this hot? Grandpa Max drove with that calm look he always had, the one that usually meant something was coming. His Hawaiian shirt was as loud as ever, but his eyes in the rearview mirror had that gleam, the ex-Plumber gleam that Ben had learned to recognize. "We're taking a little detour," Max said, voice casual as he turned the wheel, steering them off the main highway. Ben glanced up, suddenly alert and suspicious. "Detour? Why? Where are we going?" "Just an old camping spot," Max replied, smiling that half smile that never quite reached his eyes when he was hiding something. "Used to come here back in the day." "Back in the day when?" Gwen asked, finally looking up from her book. "Your plumber days? Or your actual camping days?" Max just chuckled, which wasn't an answer at all. Ben and Gwen exchanged a look. They'd learned that their grandfather's past was filled with more secrets than either of them had initially imagined. Ever since Ben found the Omnitrix, Max's history with the intergalactic peacekeeping force known as the Plumbers had been slowly revealing itself, one dangerous encounter at a time. Ben squinted out the window. That grin. He knew it too well. Something was up. The barren landscape rolled by, but now Ben was watching it with new interest. Was there an alien ship crash? A hidden base? Maybe Vilgax had returned? His hand hovered over the Omnitrix, ready despite its recent silence. They pulled off the main road and wound through rocky trails that seemed barely navigable for the old RV. The rust bucket creaked and groaned as it climbed over rocky terrain, past cacti and tumbleweeds until they stopped near a narrow canyon surrounded by towering red cliffs. No signs, no paths, just open desert stretching for miles. It didn't look special, which Ben had learned usually meant it was hiding something big. "Let's stretch our legs," Max said, already stepping out and grabbing his old duffel bag, the one that Ben knew contained plumber tech and weapons. The heat hit them like a wall as they exited the air-conditioned RV. The ground was baked hard, and the air shimmered with heat waves rising from the rocks. Ben adjusted his white and black t-shirt, already feeling sweat beading on his forehead. "This is your idea of a vacation spot?" Gwen complained, shielding her eyes from the sun. "There's nothing here but rocks and more rocks." "Sometimes the best things are hidden in plain sight," Max replied cryptically, scanning the horizon with a practiced eye. Ben wandered off alone, boots crunching on dry earth, partly to explore and partly to escape Gwen's inevitable complaining about the heat. The canyon walls rose up around him, casting long shadows as the sun began its descent. Ancient petroglyphs marked some of the rock faces, strange symbols that looked almost alien in origin. He wondered if they were actually ancient human art or something left behind by visitors from beyond Earth. That's when he saw it. A half-buried stone arch, cracked and covered in dust. It was nestled between two large boulders, partially hidden from view unless you were standing at just the right angle. Strange symbols shimmered faintly along the surface, like they were waiting. They weren't petroglyphs, they were too precise, too regular, and they seemed to glow with a faint blue light that pulsed slowly like a heartbeat. The Omnitrix beeped, once, then again. Ben stared down at his wrist, surprised. The device had been inactive for weeks, and now it was suddenly lighting up, the green hourglass symbol pulsing in sync with the strange arch. "That's new," he muttered, watching as unfamiliar alien silhouettes flickered across the display. A flicker, a new alien trying to unlock, but it stalled, jammed. The display went haywire for a moment, alien forms cycling rapidly before settling back to its normal state, though still glowing more brightly than before. He ran back toward the campsite, heart racing with excitement. Guys, I think I found something weird." Max and Gwen were setting up camp, but both stopped at Ben's call. Max's face changed the moment Ben described the arch, his casual demeanor falling away to reveal the alert, focused ex-Plumber. "Show me," he said simply, grabbing a device from his bag that looked like a scanner. When they reached the arch, Max approached it slowly, eyes narrowed in recognition and concern. "No, it's still here," he whispered, almost to himself. "You know what this is?" Ben asked, surprised. Max nodded slowly, running his hand over the symbols. "I helped build it 40 years ago." "What is this place?" Gwen asked, standing beside them, her book forgotten in her hand. Max sighed heavily, his shoulders slumping slightly. "This used to be a plumber vault from a long time ago. We sealed away tech here, things that weren't ready for the galaxy or anyone." "Like alien weapons?" Ben asked eagerly, already imagining what cool tech might be hidden below. "Some weapons, yes," Max confirmed, "but mostly prototypes, experiments, things even the plumbers weren't sure how to handle. This particular vault was decommissioned decades ago. The entrance was supposed to have been permanently sealed and hidden. Well, it's not very hidden now," Gwen observed, pointing to the glowing symbols that were growing steadily brighter as the sun set. "The Omnitrix must have triggered something," Max theorized, eyeing Ben's watch. "It's alien tech recognizing alien tech." Ben blinked, the full implications hitting him. "So we're camping on top of a secret alien vault? That's actually kinda awesome." "It's not awesome. It's dangerous," Max corrected, though there was a faint smile on his lips. "But yes, this was my original destination. I wanted to check on it, make sure everything was still secure. With all the alien activity lately, and with you having the Omnitrix, I thought it was time to verify that this place was still safely hidden. Clearly, I was right to be concerned." They set up camp not far from the arch, the fire casting long shadows against the canyon walls. Ben couldn't stop staring at the structure, wondering what secrets lay beneath. His Omnitrix continued to pulse occasionally, like it was trying to communicate with whatever was buried below. "So, what exactly is down there, Grandpa?" Ben asked as they roasted hot dogs over the fire. Max poked at the flames, considering his answer carefully. "Technology from across the galaxy. Some of it salvaged from crash sites, some confiscated from smugglers or rogue scientists. The plumbers used to store sensitive material in vaults like these, scattered across Earth in remote locations." "Why Earth?" Gwen asked. "Wouldn't it be safer on another planet?" "Sometimes hiding something in the last place anyone would look is the best strategy," Max explained. "Most alien species considered Earth too primitive to be worth searching thoroughly. Plus, putting all dangerous tech in one location creates a single point of failure. Better to spread the risk." The fire crackled, sending embers floating up toward the star-filled sky. The desert night had grown cool, the heat of the day dissipating rapidly as darkness fell. It was peaceful, almost too peaceful given what potentially lay beneath their feet. That's when the sound of footsteps on gravel broke the silence. Ben's hand immediately went to the Omnitrix, ready to transform. Gwen stood, her hands glowing slightly with the mana energy she'd been learning to control. Max reached slowly for his bag. A figure stepped out of the darkness. A girl. Maybe Gwen's age, or slightly older. She wore scavenged gear, a mix of earth clothing and what looked like pieces of alien tech fashioned into armor. Her dark hair was cut short, practical, and her eyes reflected the firelight with an intensity that suggested she'd seen more than most teenagers should. She carried a scanner made from different alien parts, its display glowing with the same symbols that marked the arch. She wasn't hostile, just determined. Her stance was cautious, but not threatening, though the modified blaster on her hip suggested she came prepared for trouble. "I'm Corin," she said simply, her voice steady despite being outnumbered. "And I came for what's buried here." Max stood slowly, positioning himself slightly in front of Ben and Gwen. "You're not a plumber." It wasn't a question. "I was," Corin answered, her eyes drifting to the canyon where the arch stood. "Or rather, my father was. Until I found out about the prototype, the one buried here, the one stronger than the Omnitrix." Ben felt his pulse jump at her words. "Wait, there's a prototype Omnitrix down there?" "Yes," she nodded, her gaze shifting to Ben's wrist, to the device that had changed his life. "And I'm going to unlock it. My father's notes led me here. He worked on the project before." She trailed off, a shadow crossing her face. "Before he disappeared." "What's your father's name?" Max asked, his voice gentler now. "Elias Chambers," she replied, and Max's face registered recognition. "I knew Elias," he said quietly. "He was a brilliant engineer, one of the best." "Then you know what he helped create," Corin pressed, "and why I need to find it." "That tech is unstable," Max countered, his voice firm but not unkind. "Too dangerous to be used. That's why it was locked away. Your father would understand that." "My father is gone because of what he knew," Corin shot back, her composure cracking slightly. "And the answers are down there. I've tracked energy signatures across 3 states to find this place." The tension hung in the air between them, neither side willing to back down. Ben looked between his grandfather and this mysterious girl, trying to process what she was claiming. Another Omnitrix? Something even more powerful? The possibilities made his head spin. Corin didn't argue further. She just turned and walked toward the arch, scanner glowing brighter as she approached it. "Should we stop her?" Gwen whispered to Max. Max watched Corin for a long moment, then shook his head. "No, but we're going with her. Better to help and keep an eye on things than let her try alone and potentially cause a disaster." The next morning, they went with her. Max, Gwen, Ben, all of them. The arch had continued to glow throughout the night, pulsing with increasing frequency as dawn broke over the canyon. Now, it hummed with energy, the symbols fully illuminated and shifting in patterns that seemed almost hypnotic. Corin had spent the night in her own makeshift camp nearby, keeping her distance but not fleeing. Now, she stood before the arch, her scanner interfacing with the ancient security system. Max watched over her shoulder, occasionally offering guidance based on his old plumber knowledge. "The locking mechanism requires a specific sequence," Max explained. "It was designed to respond only to authorized plumber tech." "My father's scanner has the codes," Corin replied, fingers working deftly across the interface. "He may have been declared missing, but he made sure I'd have what I needed to follow his trail." The arch opened slowly, groaning like it hadn't moved in decades. The rock face behind it receded, revealing a passageway that descended steeply into darkness. Cool air rushed out, a stark contrast to the desert heat already building as the sun rose higher. Ben peered down the passage, excitement and trepidation battling within him. So, we're really doing this? Exploring a secret alien vault? We are, Max confirmed, pulling out flashlights and handing them around. But we stick together, and nobody touches anything without my say-so. Understood? Ben and Gwen nodded, though Ben's fingers still itched with the temptation of discovery. Corin simply checked her blaster and stepped toward the entrance. One more thing, Max added, looking specifically at Ben. That vault was sealed before the Omnitrix was fully developed. There's no telling how the tech down there might interact with your watch. Be prepared for anything. Beneath the surface, the temperature dropped dramatically. The passage was lined with a smooth, metallic material that wasn't from Earth. It had that distinctive alien sheen that Ben had come to recognize. The walls were marked with more symbols, some of which Max explained were warnings in various alien languages. As they descended deeper, the Omnitrix lit up again. That new form that had been trying to emerge, it was ready. The watch beeped repeatedly, more insistently than before. Something's happening, Ben warned, holding up his wrist as the Omnitrix cycled through alien forms before stopping on a silhouette he'd never seen before. It's interfacing with the vault's technology, Max said, concern evident in his voice. The Omnitrix is adaptive. It's responding to whatever's down here. Before anyone could stop him, Ben slammed the dial. A flash of green light filled the narrow passage, momentarily blinding everyone. When it faded, where Ben had stood was now a massive creature unlike any alien he'd transformed into before. Massive, rocky, heavy, but calm. Its body was composed of layered stone-like plates that shifted and realigned as it moved. Deep cracks between the plates glowed with a molten energy source at its core. The ground trembled beneath its feet. "Tremor stone," Ben said, his voice deeper, heavier. The name had come to him instinctively, as it always did with a new transformation. "Ben!" Gwen exclaimed, staring up at the new form towering over them. "What did you do?" "I don't know," Ben replied, examining his massive stone hands. "It just felt right. Like the Omnitrix wanted me to transform." The vault must have unlocked this DNA sample in the Omnitrix, Max theorized, studying Ben's new form. Tremor stone. If I remember correctly, it's from a species that evolved on a tectonically unstable planet. They can manipulate the Earth itself. Ben experimented, placing one massive hand against the wall. He could feel the stone, sense its composition, its stress points, its weaknesses. With a slight push of will, he could shift it, mold it, control it. "This is amazing," he exclaimed, his rocky face splitting into what approximated a grin. "It might be exactly what we need," Corin noted pragmatically. The lower vault door was designed to be nearly impenetrable, but with Earth manipulation abilities, they continued deeper. The passage eventually opening into a large chamber filled with what looked like storage units. Containers of various sizes, all sealed with the same security systems as the entrance.